And what an honor and a privilege for us to say a very good morning to Mr. Nico Kleynhans, joining us via StreamYard, and such an honor and a privilege, Nico, to be chatting to you this morning. We need to talk about fake news and the evil nature of fake news. Please take us through it, Nico.
Okay. Unfortunately, fake news works. And in the old days, we wouldn't have used the word fake news. We would have used the word propaganda. We would have used the word lies. And we would have used the words exaggeration. And that's the problem with fake news. It's designed to create fear. And the people who are pushing it are creating fear because they have an agenda. And that agenda is very seldom in the public interest. It is rather in their interest to create fear. Now, we can thank the advertising industry for the research that has been done, because they have to work out, how do we get consumers to believe our messages? And so the advertising industry does regular research to work out what makes people respond positively to a TV advert or a radio advert. And if a well-known personality suggests that they use a particular product, does this mean that we as consumers trust that product? And do we trust it enough to buy? Then the advertising industry thought, well, what happens if it's a complete stranger making a recommendation? Do we still trust a complete stranger? And that is where the problem comes in, because 80% of us will believe the opinion of somebody we've never met, that we don't know, and that we're never likely to meet. And that is what fake news relies on. That somebody you don't know expresses an opinion, and you will just believe that particular opinion. Now, that creates problems for us. And a couple of days ago, I was forwarded one example of fake news. And this particular person made 5 points in their message. The first point was that Eskom wants to increase electricity prices by 50%. The second point this person made was that petrol is going to go up by R1.20 per litre. The third point they were going to make was the repo rate was going to increase by 25 basis points. The fourth point, the Minister of Finance wants to increase income tax. The fifth point is the Minister of Finance is going to increase VAT. Now, the underlying message there is that South Africans are going to have a year from hell. That's what this person is trying to say. This person is trying to create fear, and this person is trying to create insecurity. Now, the problem is, of these 5 statements, one is true. And the one that is true is that the repo rate was going to go up by 25 basis points. Now, I'm not panicking about that, because when we went into lockdown, the minister reduced the interest rates by 3%. And they did so to try and manage inflation. We are now returning to normality. And slowly that 3% has got to be recovered. And 25 basis points means it's 1/4 of 1%. The alternative to increasing the repo is that inflation is going to increase, and it's going to destroy our long-term plans. So that's not bad news that the repo rate is going to go up by 25 percentage points. It is nonsense to suggest that contributes. 2 of the opinions expressed was an exaggeration. Eskom is not going to get a 50% increase in the price of electricity. That's not true. That's an exaggeration. And as we now know, petrol did not go up by R1.20. It went up by half of that. So two of these views are just exaggeration. Then the Minister of Finance, according to this person, wants to increase income tax and wants to increase VAT. Assume that you are the Minister of Finance in your home and you need more money. You have two options. One, your family goes out and gets an increase in salary. That's the equivalent of increasing income tax. The second option your family has is to cut expenses. Now, the last 3 or 4 ministers have all used the second option. They cut existing government expenditure. So to say the minister wants to increase income tax may be an opinion, but it's not necessarily the truth. Then the comment on increasing VAT. The government is already a minority party. In other words, the city dwellers, the majority of the people who vote, do not vote for the ruling party. And part of the reason for that is they're frustrated, particularly around income tax. So therefore, to increase VAT means the government is going to make it more difficult to be the ruling party. That is a factor that we have to take into account. We are in a tough spot financially. Many of us are struggling. But if we believe every bit of bad news promoted by a complete stranger, we are going to get into trouble. I've been a follower of Jesus Christ for just over 50 years. And my favorite mug, let's see if I can do it, is this. It says, "In God I trust." And there are times, because I have to review lots of bad news, where I have to sit down and say to myself, is this fake news real? Is it not real? And if I, as a Christian, put my trust in God, does this mean I have to react differently than just automatically believing motives that are evil? And that's the problem with fake news. It's evil and it's untrue. And if you just assume that it is true, then what does that say about your faith? What does it then say about you living following something that is not true and adopting the motives of somebody who has a hidden agenda? I would like to see people pushing fake news to be punished. I really think so, because they're causing unnecessary stress in our lives. And sadly, many of us believe anybody, even if we have never met them or have no idea what their agenda is. I'm suggesting that this particular person who promoted this belongs to a particular party, political party, and they're pushing the agenda of that political party. They're not pushing the agenda of truth. Be aware, fake news is fake. Yeah. It's designed to make you feel depressed. It's designed to make you feel fearful. It's designed to send you on a tangent. Don't fall for that. Fake news is fake.
There we go. Nico, always helping us to have a different perspective and a clear perspective on matters. Thank you so much for chatting to us this morning. And please, ladies and gentlemen, if this was helpful, share it on your social media. You'll find it on the CCFm Facebook page as well as the CCFm YouTube channel. So go ahead and share it with friends and family.
Waking up has never felt this good.
I love the music.